monthly webinar series. Today's webinar is how to process your W-2s from the Nollie. My name is Sherry Severson, and I'm a technical support specialist here at Cougar Mountain Software. I want to again just remind everyone, if you are using a phone, to please go ahead and mute your phones for the duration of the webinar. Thank you. Today's topics are installing Aatrix, finding Aatrix in your Denali payroll, and running your Aatrix W-2 reports. We will go ahead and finish up with a question-answer wrap-up at the end of the webinar. The Aatrix software can be downloaded from the customer service website at www.cougarmtnservice.com. You'll need a login as a member to download the software. Your username is typically your business phone number, and password is usually the first 3 characters of your business name followed by your area code. If you have any trouble with that, feel free to give operations a call and grab or have your login reset. You will want to go to the latest downloads, which are toward the bottom right of the screen, and click on the Aatrix quarterly update file. You will need to have your registration code for Aatrix available after the installation is complete. You are also welcome to call in a ticket to customer support, and we will be happy to get Aatrix installed for you and walk you through that process. When installing Aatrix, it will ask for a folder selection. You can choose Cougar Mountain Software, or you can also put it under your programs file. To verify that Aatrix has installed properly, you'll want to open Denali, go to your Payroll module, click on Reports, and see that there should be a new line at the bottom that has been added, and the line is Tax Reports. Click on Tax Reports, and you'll see the form up here on the screen that's on the left-hand side. You'll want to choose the form that you're looking for, 2014 W-2s or 2014 941s, and click Display. If your Aatrix is not updated, you will not see the 2014, you will see 2013 or previous years. Go ahead and choose the correct form and click on Display anyway, and then you'll see the screen that comes up on the right, and just click Automatic Update. And that will take you through and get your forms updated to the current year. You will want to follow any steps on screen that come up so that all of your tables get updated properly. Once you've got Aatrix installed and you've got it updated, my fingers are not very good here. There we go, W-2s. Hit Display. Once it's been updated to the current frame, you will not get that automatic update. You'll get a little screen that goes through processing data. And then you're going to get this screen that says W-2 Setup Wizard. Here you can choose whether to test your W-2s and W-3s with your first 25 employees, or do a test with all your employees, or you can just start processing. My recommendation is to go ahead and do a test first so that you can get the knowledge down of how the process works. As you click through the next windows, there's things that the Aatrix is trying to verify that it's pulled from your Denali system. Your company EIN number, your company information as far as title, address, contact information for your payroll reports. Whether you're a third-party tax preparer or whether you work for the company you're preparing for. You're going to come to the state and local tax window. You'll notice here that we have all of our tax account numbers entered. If you do not, it will not let you go through to the next window. If we were to choose or need to add a tax, and let's just do withholding here. Oh, it does have a tax account number. Yeah. If you don't have that account number in there, it will not allow you to go through. It will make you find your account numbers and enter those in. Those numbers can also be found on your tax table in Denali, so that Aatrix will pull that information. And on your tax tables, it's found under codes. And it's looking for these numbers up here, your unemployment account number or your tax number there. So this is just asking you some questions, yes or no. This W-3 box here, you will need to have something checkmarked in this second area here. The most common is the 941. Another one, if you use multiple payroll data files for this particular company, it's going to be processed a little differently than if you use a single payroll data file. Then you're going to get it working to prepare that report for you. You're going to see that it said test drive because that's what I chose, was test drive. Here you'll see that one of my 18 active employees did not have any payroll checks for this year. So they are not going to be displayed in the Aatrix form. If you are using the test drive mode, you'll see that it tells you you're in test drive and that no information is going to be saved or transmitted through e-file. Here is what the Aatrix program will pull up first. You will notice that at the upper left, it's asking you to verify your employee information. That information or those columns are highlighted in blue. You can also pull out this little line here, and it will give you additional information that you may want to look at or modify, verify for your employee. State, address, middle initial if needed. Then you click your next step, and you'll notice the blue highlights move on to the next area. These areas are typically your federal and state wages, and each box up here, box 16, 17, correlates with the boxes on your W-2 form. If they are in green, they will automatically transfer to the W-2 form. So you'll want to verify those state wages. Next, it's going to bring you to an unassigned column area. The unassigned columns are typically benefits, deductions, things like that you may or may not want on the W-2s. They may or may not need to be on the W-2s. You can choose to assign them if they need to be, like the dental plan needs to be on there. You can click the drop-down menu, and it shows you the different areas that you have that you can assign it to. Your tax accountant or you will need to know which boxes and which codes those unassigned columns will need. And over here toward the end of the columns, boxes 18 and 19 are for local wages and taxes. You click next step, you may get warnings or errors. Go ahead and read those. They pertain to the different states or information that you have in your W-2. Some errors, if you have unassigned columns still, these errors will come up, and it will tell you that there are one or more unassigned columns with dollar amounts in the grid. That's okay if they do not need to be assigned. You can go ahead and continue without correcting. If they need to be assigned, you go back and correct it. We're going to continue without correcting for today's purposes. This one is another error that you may find. You need to go back and correct most of these, or at least verify that the information is correct in your grid. And it will tell you specifically what it is and what the problem is. For today, we're going to go ahead and continue without correcting. Once you are done, you will come to this screen here that gives you your printing and filing options. If you need to review these options carefully. If you are printing any copies and not doing the full e-file, you'll need to make sure that you have that option to print all of them. If you click other options here, you'll notice that the only default check is employer copies. You'll want to, if you're printing them for your employees, you need to check that. If you're e-filing, go ahead and leave those checked. If you're not e-filing, you'll need to uncheck those. You also need to make sure to print your federal copies and your state copies. Those are official copies. Doing all printing on your side does not cost you anything. If you e-file, there is a charge, but Aatrix does the e-filing for you. If you do not check one of these and you get to the end, it does not allow you to print the copies after you are finished. This is the area that tells you you want to print those copies. You can go back and correct W-2s and come to the screen again and print copies, but if you get to the end and you're not able to print a certain copy that you need your federal W-2s, this is probably why we missed this step in the beginning. This, if you choose not to e-file, this will come up and it will just have you question whether you would like to learn more about e-filing. In some cases, there is a limit to paper filing in Oregon, so that will give you that warning, and you may wish to go back and choose to e-file in Oregon if you have that capability or you're in that state. This screen here tells you what states you have to file if your employees are in multiple states, or please mute your phones and speakers if possible. You are only in one state, it'll only show you the one state here. You can go ahead and click next.
They fried chicken pretty good.
I can hear some background noise. If possible, could you please mute your phones so everyone can hear? Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and elect to not print the Oregon withholding tax form here because I'm not really filing. You can choose whether to have divider sheets or not divider sheets. Here it's going to tell you what all the data is that we've done. For federal-wise, it's federal W-2s and W-3s. For each state, it gives you which reports it will show you. And it's going to show you for employees. It's going to print your employee W-2s and your employee W-2 notices and employer W-2s as well. This shows you everything that is going to come up. So if you get to this spot and you find that you're missing the federal W-2s or the employee W-2s, you can still go back and choose to print those by clicking the back button here. As it comes through, this is the spot where you're going to want to register it if you have freshly installed Aatrix or if you have not updated since last year or last quarter, last time you did a payroll report. When you click register, it's going to come up with this screen here, and you'll want to make sure your EIN number is correct. You'll enter your registration code for Aatrix in this window down here. and you'll want to enter it in all caps and no dashes. And hit enter and done, and it will populate your information up here. I do not have an Aatrix code, so I am actually going to evaluate. But this is how the report, it will show you how your W-2s will print. They are 4 to a page. So this first section, if you read up here, is for Alabama W-2s. And you can flip through the pages like per people here if you have that, if you have more than one person. We're going to go ahead and click next step. And these are the W-2s for the District of Columbia that I had. The Idaho W-2s. When you register, if you have multiple states, that register evaluate screen will not keep showing. It will just automatically go to the next window. Once you get through all of your state reports, you will come to the reports to print for the employees. And here you will notice that they are one person per page because the employee needs the 4 copies. And you can flip through them just to verify or review the information per employee here. When you are printing your final copies, you'll want to use this print copy up here. Or next step also brings you to whether you'd like to print them or not. After the employee, the employer W-2s come up, and you'll notice that these are 4 people to a page because the employer only needs 1 copy per W-2 form. After the employer, the federal W-2s will come up, and they will be 2 to a page because that is how the federal government needs to have them. And they are printed on plain paper because it says specifically, do not fold, cut, or staple this form. So you'll want to print those on plain paper. All of the lines and everything will print. And your W-3 will come up and give you the summary of the information. If you do need to make a payment, the payment form will also print. And it goes on to other state reports. But that's essentially it. You just need to verify your information in the grid and look at the reports as they print. Now it's time for our question and answer session. Go ahead and enter your questions in the chat window, please. One of the questions was, how do you correct information? If you have closed out of Aatrix and you find that you need to go in and correct information, you go back to display, back like you were going to start it up again. And let me see if I can get there. So you go back to this window here, and if you hit on display and you have actually printed them, it will come up with a window that tells you you've printed them and that you have the option to reprint or correct. You'll want to choose the correct W-2s, and then it will take you back to the grid where you can make your changes and go through the process again, and print them out again. It will also ask you whether you have given the information to the employees or given it out, submitted any of the information. One other question is, the W-2 looks okay on the screen. When we print it, it shows demo do not file. How do we get rid of that? My guess is that your Aatrix is probably not registered correctly or is not registered in the correct year. That's typically what I see when demo do not file comes across the reports. Another question is not bringing up my New York State W-2 copies. When you were in the grid, did your New York State information show? Did it have the state wages and state taxes there? That would be the first place I would look. Also, you'll want to check the printing-wise when it came to the print window, whether that was an area you checked, whether you checked to print the state copies. Another question, can I print W-2 forms and still do a complete online paid filing through Aatrix so that I maintain a good copy for my records? I believe the answer there is yes. I believe you'll want to click on Other and then choose the e-file options underneath the employees there. Should I be resetting payroll after I process W-2 information? You'll want to reset your year-to-date totals and payroll after you have completely printed all of your W-2s, your end-of-year reports, your 941s, anything like that. Then you can go ahead and reset your year-to-date totals. You do not want to reset your year-to-date totals without having done all of your year-end processing. One question is, why did the payroll totals not reset on pay stubs for 2015? We did find that that was an error in our software. The error was that if you had not yet reset your year-to-date totals, it was combining the 2014 and the 2015 totals on the pay stubs. They are aware of that and they are working on that, but once you have completed all your processing and have reset your year-to-date totals, then the pay stubs will go back to the correct amounts. Yeah, when you make a corrected copy of filing and you have e-filed, it will go back and do a corrected e-filing for you as well, yes. W-2 forms can be printed on plain paper. You can purchase the 4-part perforated forms for your employees as well, if you would like. If you reset the year-to-date totals prior to printing your W-2s, I do believe that will affect the information that the Aatrix is pulling over. If you have reset your year-to-date totals prior to printing your W-2s, give support a call and we will help you get that corrected. Yes, you need to print all of your W-2s prior to resetting your year-to-date totals. One of the questions is, where can I get a 941A report? That report should be in the latest upgrade, the Denali 5 upgrade. I believe it was on the list for that report. One of the questions is, regardless of the data that was imported from Denali to Aatrix, I am able to change or edit the information. That is correct. That is what you can do in the grid. You can edit and change information in that grid. Another question was, where do we reset the year-to-date totals in the system, and can you show us on screen? I can show you on screen if this version is the latest version. It would be under Period End and Reset Year-to-Date Totals. This option is available in the 4.2 and the Denali 5 upgrades. One of the questions was, Nevada has no state tax. Do we still have to put our state number accounts on the W-2s? And the answer there is probably no, since they do not have any state tax. One question was about the period end and resetting year-to-date totals. Their period end tab was grayed out. I would suggest checking your security settings and user rights. One question was they're cutting their first 2015 paychecks to employees, and their pay stubs are showing the wrong year-to-date amounts. Am I able to fix this or not until resetting year-to-date totals? It will not fix it until you reset year-to-date totals. We have suggested to customers that they just inform their employees that that will show both the 2014 and 2015 totals until the customer gets all their year-end processing done. At that time, the checks, pay stubs will show the correct year-to-date amounts. There is another upgrade, I believe, coming out February or March. We're hoping that this will be fixed in that upgrade. Another question, when is Denali 5 out? It is currently out now. You can download it from the customer service website, or you can call in and have an installation appointment done so that we can help you with that. Unfortunately, the system I am on is not on the Denali 5 upgrade. It is on the 4.2, so I am not able to show you where the 941A report is, but it would be listed in this area under reports, and you should see a 941A report there after you have installed the Denali 5 upgrade. Another question is, once the year-to-date totals are reset, will the numbers automatically reset to the new correct year-to-date totals? And my understanding is yes, that is correct. I believe one of the questions is asking, after they process their W-2s and print everything, are they able to go back and reprint a pay stub that had the wrong year-to-date totals? I am not sure that I can answer this question effectively. If you have not posted the paychecks, then yes, you could certainly go back and reprint that. If they are posted, I am uncertain of whether it will change on that particular check stub.